Yes! 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 No! 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 Fuck!
Daniel Bryan, a man who has done just about everything there is to do in professional wrestling. After his latest championship win over Jack Perry, over Swerve Scott Strickland, I've been wondering to myself, which one of his major championship wins has the most amount of greatness to them, or which is better? And I chose the wins that that really set him up for greatness, which was his WrestleMania 30 win, and of course the All-In London win at Wembley Stadium. And I chose these two because these two stuck out to me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love his Ring of Honor World Championship win, as well as his PWG Championship win, because I still watch that every day. It's part of my playlist. I love that match. But other than that, I think these two are the ones that I'm going to be comparing today, because these two, in my eyes, these were the two that set him up to be one of the biggest deals in all of professional wrestling. So let's get into it. His first, or I wouldn't say first, but I probably would say he has a couple of wins in the WWE, as well as he has a lot of WWE Championship wins, but we'll go with the WrestleMania one because that one was obviously the better one out of the ones he has had, in my opinion. This win symbolizes so much. You have the Authority, who was always betting against them. Matter of fact, it was his first WWE Championship win against John Cena and the Cass-in after that really set him up to be the underdog of the story. When you really think about it, Daniel Bryan was the underdog in so many ways. He practically set up the world to have him, the world to be behind him at all times. Because when you see a man who is fighting for his dreams so much, you can't help but root for him. You see him be this close to it, but he never gets to it in the end. And that is a setup towards the number 30 WrestleMania match. Triple H, even Randy, Batista, for some reason, that match had so much on the line. You had Bryan going in practically injured after facing Triple H prior to the championship match, and of course he obviously didn't like taking the loss, but he managed to still compete in the match nonetheless. And I have to tell you, the spots in this match were absolutely insane. Like, if you haven't seen that Batista Randy Orton powerbomb through the announce table, I have to say that is one of the most utterly devastating bumps I have ever seen, man. Randy landing on that monitor, God bless it. Maybe that's why he has back issues now. But other than that, Daniel Bryan, it was in that moment, it was close to being over. I think anyone out there at the time was thinking, they're not going to do this to him. They're not. Because he was sent on a stretcher and he was going out. And it was towards the end of the match where the knee was hit to Randy and Batista threw Daniel out. They're like, you can hear the crowd just not even bother counting. They just anticipating that Daniel's gonna lose, but they still hold in because they want him to win. And in the final moments of that bout, Batista hit the Batista bomb. Daniel hit his knee, and it was a sink into the yes lock and the tap out win for Daniel Bryan. This moment practically solidifies Daniel as honestly one of the most beloved superstars not at that time, but in the world, in my opinion, because this was his moment. He outdid everyone. He broke every barricade. He beaten everyone who said he could not do it. This was his time. And the crowd, of course, they were with him. You can freaking hear that pop after he tapped out Batista. The man who he went to a time limit draw with in his rookie days in NXT. And that win practically set us up for some great, honest to God, Daniel Bryan story runs in his later future. That win practically made him the superstar he arguably is today. And truly, this win is remembered for many, many years and years to come. All In was a pay-per-view that had many greatness to it. Other than, the supposed, Will Ospreay and JMS match that we all knew that was going to be the match, you know what I mean? It was the match that was going to be the most competitive out of the two. But the match that was the main event was, of course, Daniel Bryan versus Swerve Strickland at Wembley Stadium. And when you think of the build-up to this match, you have to say it kind of started off a bit rocky when you think of it, because Daniel Bryan, of course, did come back from a loss, a big major loss to Will Ospreay in one of the God bless most anticipated matches at that time. Like, you had no idea how many people were anticipating that match to be as good as it is. But of course, the ending was not in Bryan's favor, and he had come back from taking a serious Tiger Driver 98 to his neck. And as we know, he has history with neck issues. And when you bring up the topic of Swerve Strickland's moveset, almost everything he does, almost every move he has, is going towards that head and neck. Of course, even the JML driver, so you know that in this match, they were going to know that Swerve has to have those neck thoughts in his head. He knows and is anticipating it. But I digress. The most great part in this match is seeing how much the crowd is practically just anticipating everything. The trailer for this match, the entrances for Daniel Bryan. If you told me that Daniel could probably be retiring right now, then I would have believed you, because in that entrance, I swear, they made you believe he's going out, but he's gonna go out fighting, which is something he always wanted to do and is still doing to this day. But other than that, you have to admit this match practically had some of the most emotional moments in AEW history, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't compare this to Kenny Omega and Adam Page, because that has its own category of greatness. But if you think about how much Daniel has been fighting to be with his family as well as to wrestle for a living. You have to admit that he has practically been working day and night just to get to this point and to go on and to win that belt. And you know, that match was awesome. That running knee no sell was probably one of Swerve's best no sells yet so far. I mean, I would say this would be on par with with the paper clips, but you know, that's just me. But nonetheless, this win, that final ending where Swerve was countered into the Psycho knee. He rolled up and boom in the face. And then Daniel delivered another one to the back. And you have to admit that yes lock into the Sicilian stretch was a recreation of that time he did win at, you know, WrestleMania 30. But if I had to compare the two, I obviously have to go with the one where Daniel was, you know, where Daniel was the underdog and he had everything against him. You know, the company was against him. The company was against him. His barriers were up and they were not letting him through. And if I'm being honest, the All-In event where he fought off was absolutely gorgeous. But if you have to compare the two, I would have to give it to WrestleMania 30 over All-In, because that one just had a lot more at stake. I mean, don't get me wrong, Daniel Bryan's career was on the line. However, I just felt like they added that in because they just needed something to have stakes on the line. And plus, Daniel said that himself, but I felt like if Swerve would have said it and Daniel would have accepted begrudgingly, then I would feel like it would be a bit more of a high stakes or a bit more personal, because Swerve didn't want Daniel to wrestle. But you know, that was just me. But that's going to be all for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. But hey, if you like this video, there are other videos I did on the subject. So if you want to go check those out, I'd be happy if you would. And like, if you made it this far, and you know, there's a little subscribe button if you want to press it. I'm not saying you should, but only press it if you really want to subscribe to me. But I've been rambling on for way too long. So thank you again for watching. And don't forget, stars unite.